I actually remember on the morning of my interview getting a flat tyre on the way into work. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. Absolutely no shock to hear that I'm going to be talking about work today. I'm going to start by talking all about myself and how I personally got into HR just over 2 years ago now. And if you stay tuned, I'm going to give you some advice on how you can enter this crazy world as well if you want to. I started to get interested in HR when I was working in recruitment actually. I absolutely loved recruiting, I loved talking to people, I got such a thrill out of filling roles, but I just hated the sales aspect. There came a point where I couldn't ignore the fact that I hated this part of my job so much, so I thought about looking for an internal recruitment role. It was about this same time that I started recruiting for a HR role for a different company. It was an entry-level HR administrator role and I loved the look of it. It looked so varied and so interesting. But I thought it would be quite the taboo to apply for a job that I was supposed to be filling. While I was recruiting for this role, I realised how many great candidates there are in HR and how many of them there are. HR is really quite competitive. There were a lot of good candidates, some of which had even self-funded their own qualifications. More on qualifications later. I won't lie, this got me really quite disheartened. I thought, how on earth am I going to get a role in HR when there's all of these amazing people that I'm competing with? I couldn't let it stop me and I thought, what's the harm in applying for a job even if it goes nowhere? I came across a HR role for a local social care company about 25 minutes from where I lived. It was entry level, they weren't requiring experience, and it was around the same salary for what I was on then. I loved the look of it and contacted their recruitment email. Their process was that I needed to complete an application form. I'd never done one before, I'd always just applied with my CV. It can be quite disheartening to fill out an application form when you feel like your CV has all the information you need, but it's really important. You can really tell the difference between someone who's cared about their application and someone who hasn't. I got invited in for an interview and I remember it was on the 30th of January 2018. It feels so long ago now. I actually remember on the morning of my interview getting a flat tyre on the way into work. I was incredibly thankful for my ongoing Christmas present of the AA membership from my dad that morning. I was asked to prepare a bit of an about me presentation for the interview. I didn't want to do anything too formal, so just thought about myself and why I wanted to join HR and also why I wanted to join this company. Like many of us, I was looking to join HR. I wasn't specifically looking for an industry at this point. This doesn't mean that they should know that. You've got to make that company feel like you exclusively want to work in HR in this field. Within my presentation, I spoke about the importance of getting the right staff, training them well, and maintaining them so that they can provide a really good service to clients. Depending on the industry you're looking at entering, look at some HR related issues, as speaking about these really will impress them. Around 7 o'clock that evening, I got a call from one of the interviewers and was offered the job. Of course, I said yes straight away, and then the countdown began. I had 1 month's notice at my current job and was ready to start in my first ever HR role on the 5th of March 2018. That's how I personally got into HR. I had transferable skills from a previous role and spent a lot of time looking into the company so I could really sell myself. Now, let's talk about the important stuff, how you can get started in your HR career. I just mentioned transferable skills and there are lots of jobs where you can gain these. You just heard me mention recruitment. Now, depending on the size of the company and how they run their HR department, recruitment can either be a huge part or a separate department completely. Not only will you get great people skills, working in recruitment teaches you a lot about people related documents that are required. Stuff like right to work checks, contracts of employment, all of these things are great skills to help you move into HR. As well as this, anything with compliance responsibilities will teach you essential skills. You are up to your neck in compliance in HR, and having a bit of knowledge on the reasons why we have to do stuff and knowing how to tick those legal boxes is a really beneficial skill to have. When you're looking for your first HR role, it's likely to be quite administration heavy. Therefore, any administration or customer service based role will teach you some skills that are transferable into HR. Everything like word processing, using Excel, just talking to people are skills that you need when you're starting your HR career. So definitely see any general admin roles as a good option. You already heard me mention qualifications and I wanted to go into these a little bit deeper. In the UK, the main provider of HR qualifications is the CIPD. They are the regulatory body for the whole profession, and I'll leave their website down below with some great free resources. You can do your CIPD diploma at 3 different levels. If you're really new, a level 3 will give you the basics. If you've got a little experience and just wanting to expand your knowledge, the level 5 is a great intermediate option. And for super advanced HR professionals, the level 7, which is equivalent to a master's, is just so full. When I started looking at doing a qualification, I'd been working in HR for 6 months, so I looked into the intermediate as the best option for me. I personally studied with a company called ICS Learn, who provide remote options for learning. I'll link their CIPD courses down below, as this was a really good option for me, but there's loads of providers all over the country. Obviously, all these things costs. My employer paid for mine, but I know if you're looking to get into the sector, you can't just instantly get all this money to pay for it. The Open University provide free courses, which can be a great no-cost option if you're looking to get into HR. While they're not going to be as in-depth as a full diploma, they do provide a bit of an oversight and look great on your CV as well. If you are thinking about completing a degree, an obvious choice would be a HR management specific course. But if you're still looking for something a bit broader, a general business course or even something law related, especially if it included employment law, would look great on a CV when applying for HR roles. Alongside experience you can gain and qualifications you can get, you just need to have some personal attributes in order to be a good HR person. HR is really, really hard work. The role is varied, you have lots of stakeholders to keep happy, and you'll have really tight deadlines that you just can't miss. Realistically, you need to be able to take quite a lot of shit to work in HR. You need to learn to not take things personally. While it would be lovely to be naturally born with the ability to bounce off any negativity, I definitely wasn't. I had to deal with some challenging situations and probably have a couple of crying sessions, but now I feel like I'm able to take a lot of stuff and push it off. You need to be able to leave your work at work and have a rest when you're at home. You do need some level of organisation to work in HR. Now, while I feel like the biggest hypocrite saying this, you need to have some level of organisation to work in HR. Organisation doesn't come naturally to me, but I find with making a billion lists and having nice stationery, I keep on top of my work. Unless you're working in a massive company when your role is really, really defined, you will have a lot to balance and you'll need to make sure you keep on top of everything. Something that often gets forgotten when talking about HR and in general office roles is the need to be creative. HR is so rarely straightforward. There'll always be hurdles and barriers in your way, and you need to think outside the box and problem solve on a daily basis. Challenges will always get in your way, and you need to be able to work independently but also within a team to overcome these. I personally don't have any experience in graduate programs or apprenticeships related to HR. This section won't be particularly long, but I did want to have a bit of a nod to it. You can come across graduate programs for HR, but they can be incredibly competitive. As a graduate, don't be afraid to apply for the roles you're interested in. It doesn't have to be a graduate program. Taking on placements, internships, and summer jobs relating to HR could all help to build your CV when applying for these roles. Apprenticeships can also be a great option. A local college to me, I have seen advertising for CIPD accredited apprenticeship programs at both level 3 and 5. This could be a great option of learning and getting a professional qualification without the need to shell out all the money, as of course this is paid for. There's a little look into my personal HR career and how I got into it, as well as some tips and tricks for how you can get started as well. HR is such a rewarding career and I'm loving every minute of it, so make sure you give it a look if it sounds interesting to you. If you've got any other tips, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching this video today. If you like this sort of video, I post every Sunday and Thursday, so make sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell if you do want to be notified when I post. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye!